Hello, my name is Professor Benjamin, and this is Game Design at West Virginia Wesleyan College. And today we'll be starting to create a game. So it's going to be our first game. So let's take a look at the basics of this game. So I'm going to give you a lot of creative license, but there's going to be some fundamental elements that you're going to incorporate. And so I've sketched out a map of the world and the game, essentially how I want to lay it out. But you can draw your map in any way you like. Using any materials, just pencil and paper. But I want to show you some of the elements that this game that you'll have to create for it. All right, so first we're going to need a starting place and an ending place. In my case, this game is, the premise of my game is Monument Men. And so that was a film that was based on some real soldiers that went and discovered all of these historic pieces of art that the Nazis had hidden. And so so this is sort of loosely based on Monument, if you will. But you can make yours any way you like. So what I have here is a map. I have a border to my map. That'll be a blocking volume. There's a starting point, and then there's a finish. For mine, it'll be a museum. And we're going to create 3 items that we're going to hide in the map. And for me, I'm going to hide them in these little depots. And they'll be artwork, but yours can be whatever you like. And then along the path of the map, there's going to be traps that we're going to create. So essentially the game it's just a hunt and gather game, and you have to avoid the traps. But you have to gather all 3 objects and take them to the museum or the finish line to complete the game without dying. And so like I said, your game can be, you can take a lot of creative license, but essentially it'll have to have those components. A start and a finish, 3 items that are hidden in the map, and then we're going to create at least 4 traps that your character will have to try to avoid to succeed. But the only way to win is to collect all of the items. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And next I'm going to show you basically the map that I've created. So you already know how to sculpt a landscape. So remember, I'm not going to walk you through my sculpture here. But you just go up to your modes panel and you select landscape, and you automatically will get a brush. You can choose to add different materials, but in the starter content there's the grass material, and that's what I've chosen. And then once you do that, you could hit create, and then you can, remember, just click and drag to sculpt the landscape like so. And then remember, hold the shift key down if you want to compress the landscape, or again make a little path like I've done here. All right, and then when you're done with that, you go back to the place actors mode. Now what I want to point out here too is you can sculpt the landscape using that sculpting brush. But what I've done is I've created a plane. I just went and added a regular old plane here from your basic items. You're just dragging it out here. It starts off really small. It's this little small plane. And then I just made it really big. So here's my plane. It's quite large. If we look and see, I've got 200 by 100 by 100. And you can see if I move it, there's my landscape that I've sculpted. And there's like some hollowed out areas, some depressed areas. But it's a little hard to traverse with your character. And it's not as clear where the path is. So I created this plane, which it's just a big plane. And I just sunk it in there. So then what happens is so if I hit play and I start walking in here, there's a nice flat surface, and it gives me some kind of direction which way I can go. Whereas, these are a little hard to traverse. Sometimes you have to jump over them. And so that's what I recommend. Otherwise, it'll be a little tricky to make the landscape easier to traverse. All right, and so here is some of the depots that I created. You can create yours any way you like. They're just little buildings. I put stairs on them, and this is where I'll hide the art pieces. And this will eventually be one of my obstacles. So it'll be like a fire pit of acid. And, if you go in it, we'll make it so you die. And so this will be a pretty easy one, and we'll just jump over. But right there, I jumped too far, and once we set it up, I would have died. And I'll just show you some of the other ones. Here, I'm going to put 2 giant sliding toothed doors that if they hit you, you will die. So you'll have to get through those. And then collect this piece. And again, there'll be another sliding door here. And we'll get through that. And then the last piece will be hidden over here, a little farther away. I just put some stairs here, and whoa, and you'll create something like this too. So here will be some acid water, you know, that you can't walk through. If you do, you'll die. And we'll have some floating platforms like this, and you'll have to parkour, you know, jump on them to get across here safely to get to this little building, which will have the third item. And then you'll need a final place. For me, it's a museum. I'll probably put a sign on it that says museum. And you'll need a doorway. And so this is if you just type in doorway in your starter content, that'll be there. And otherwise, you can create it however you like. All right, and so kind of zoom out on my map here. Oh, and let me just show you the blocking volume. So here you can see this sort of perimeter around here. So what I did for that was I just went to my, and I just grabbed a blocking volume. So you just drag it out here like so. There's a second one. And you can see this one's quite large. I made it 80 by 50 by 40. So it fills most of my map that I've created here, that I've sculpted out. Now it's important, now this blocking volume, if you don't do anything to it, you just won't be able to go, it'll bar you from going in. But so what you want to do is you'll select your blocking volume and you'll scroll down into the details panel and you'll say, you'll make it hollow. So you'll just click hollow right here. And you can see there it's solid and that's hollow. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this blocking volume and I can show you how this works. So I'm going to hit play again. And so here I am, here's my character. And it's hollow, so I can move into the map. But if I try to go outside of this map, you can see I can't go. There's an invisible barrier. And that's all the way around here. And so what it does is it forces my character, boom, right there. So what it does is it forces my character, I have to go into this entrance and find the items in here versus cheating and going around. So that's a blocking volume. So you'll want to have that as well. All right, and then after that, what we'll do is the other steps that we'll do in sequence are we'll then add the animation. So we're going to add the floating objects and the doors with teeth, and then after that we're going to add damage. So we'll set it up so our character it'll hit a damage or a health damage volume, and so if we step in the acid or if we get hit by the doors, that'll decrease our health. So that'll be the next step. After that, we're going to add the objects that you've got to collect. In my case, I'm going to add famous paintings. And then we're going to add the museum door, because the final door is going to be how you win the game. So we're going to add that, and we're going to add that animation. And then next week, so we'll separate this out into two groups, we'll create the HUD. So we'll create your user interface, and that'll have things on it like your health and how many items you've collected. And then the final thing we're going to do is create the winning or the losing screen. So it'll be like you lose, game over, or you've won. And so those will be the last parts. And then we'll package the game so that it can be played on any machine that has Epic Games on it. And that's what we'll do. All right, so good luck creating your map, and we'll see you on the next episode.